This is going to be ranking every U.S. state shape by how easy of a pill it would be to swallow. Now, I'm not considering size for this. I'm going to pretend that they're all proportionally the same size as a normal pill. 50 is Alaska. This was a pretty easy choice because this one is just plain dangerous. Just look at how pointy the left and right sides are of this. This pill is going to be slicing your throat as you're swallowing it. You might as well be swallowing a knife. 49 is Texas. This is another pill that could very easily slice your throat as you're swallowing it, especially over here on the left side, but even the top and bottom portions could be dangerous too. 48 is Minnesota. Now, I like my chances of surviving swallowing this pill a little bit better than the first two, but it's still pretty risky. If this pointy part up here on the top hits you in the right spot, you could die. 47 is Michigan. Now, this one's kind of confusing because it's almost like you got two pills in one. The first pill wouldn't be too bad, but you got to watch out for that second one because there's some jagged parts that could get you. 46 is Florida. Not really sharp, but you kind of got to do some origami to swallow it since it's an L shape. 45 is Massachusetts. Now, the front portion of this one is not bad at all, but the back is where it gets scary. This little natural hook right here could really pierce the side of your mouth, or even worse, just drag down your throat the whole way it's going down. 44 is Delaware. This is the same thing here. There's no issue with the lower portion of the pill, but when you get up to the upper part and you get that little natural hook, that thing could do some damage. 43 is Idaho. This is similar to the last one, just not nearly as deadly. Yes, there are some pointy parts to it, but the issue with this one is you've got to swallow it in the right direction, because if it's going sideways, this area up here is going to be very uncomfortable going down your throat. Won't kill you though, just uncomfortable. 42 is Oklahoma. Same thing, just got to make sure you swallow it in the right direction so this little pointy edge doesn't scratch your throat going down. 41 is Louisiana. Now, this one's not as sharp and deadly as the last few, but you still got to be careful because of its unique L shape. Might take some adjusting to learn how to swallow it. 40 is Virginia. Now, again, like we've seen with a lot of these first few, there's a dangerous area in here. This front left portion would slice your throat up, so you got to make sure you swallow it the right direction. 39 is New York. Again, we've got a little bit of a portion that could be kind of sharp back here in the back, but the issue with this one is it's almost like it's two pills in one since it's the shape of the T. You got one pill going this way and one going this way, so it might be a little bit difficult to swallow. 38 is Missouri. Now, this one's just a little bit misleading. At first, you look at it and you're like, oh, that's not bad at all to swallow, but then you look. The upper left hand and the lower right hand portions are very sharp. You got to be careful with this one. 37 is West Virginia. This one's also misleading. At first, you look at the lower portion, and you're like, oh, that's perfect for a pill. And then you realize the two back legs will slice you up. 36 is Maryland. Not as bad as some of these, but certainly some areas of concern that could cut your throat. 35 is Kentucky. Now, it is sort of pill-shaped, but the issue with this one is there's just too many jagged portions in this, especially the tip over here on the left, that could really cut your mouth or your throat as you're swallowing it. 34 is Nevada. Now, the upper portion here is no problem whatsoever, but the issue comes in with the bottom right. That right there could be deadly. 33 is North Carolina. This one's similar to Kentucky. It is kind of pill-shaped, but there's just too many jagged points in this one, especially the tip out here on the left that could probably cut your mouth. 32 is New Hampshire. This is just basically North Carolina, but facing another direction. So obviously, again, we have the issue of the point up top that could easily cut you. 31 is California. Now, it is kind of pill-shaped, but like we've seen with a few others, it's almost like you have to swallow two pills in one because it goes straight down here and then out to the side. So this might be a little bit difficult. 30 is Hawaii. Now, hear me out. Have you ever tried to swallow 3 or 4 pills at once? I have, and it's certainly not an enjoyable experience. Now, it's not as risky as some of these other state pills would be because they're not sharp or pointy, but it'll be very easy to choke having to take 8 of these at once. 29 is Pennsylvania. Now, the left portion over here is excellent, certainly ideal for a pill, but the issue comes in with the right side. We've got 2 sharp points that could easily slice your throat. 28 is Rhode Island. Although this is a very small state, this series is considering the shape of the state, not the size. So this would just be kind of awkward to swallow. I don't really know exactly what the shape even is. Just would be a little weird. 27 is Connecticut. Now, if we cut this little left-hand portion off, this thing would be top 10 for sure. But the issue is that little bottom left side might cut you. 26 is Arkansas. Now, this one isn't too terrible. There's just way too many different corners and points that would make this pill a little bit hard to swallow. 25 is Nebraska. Not too terrible, but there's just a few points of concern. We've got the bottom right corner, which might be a little bit sharp. Not as bad as some of these others, though. And then again here, this little corner piece being gone is a little bit risky. 24 is Utah. Again, a similar problem here. The top right-hand corner missing might pose a little bit of a threat to scratch your throat, but otherwise, this one's pretty solid with the bottom area. 23 is Wisconsin. It was eliminated here for one reason and one reason alone. This upper right-hand portion could potentially be deadly with how sharp it is if you swallow it the wrong way. 22 is Indiana. Not overly risky compared to a lot of these states we've seen so far, but we're getting to some of the best, so we got to start eliminating them somehow. And this little bottom left corner might be a little bit sharp, not nearly as bad as some of these others though. 21 is Washington. Overall, this is a pretty solid pill shape. Just a little bit concerned with how rough it is around some of the edges. Might be a little bit uncomfortable to swallow this pill. 20 is South Dakota. This starts a run of square-shaped states. Now, the reason most of these made it top 20 is because they're relatively similar to the shape of a pill, but most of them are pretty pointy in the corners, so that's why they weren't any higher. The reason South Dakota was the lowest, though, is because this little point in the corner could be a little dangerous. 19 is New Mexico. Overall, a nice pill shape, just not any higher because the little point in the bottom left is a little risky. 18 is Montana. Pretty solid for a pill. Only issue is these ridges down on the bottom might be a little sharp. 17 is Kansas. Again, same concept. The only area of concern is this little portion right there, but still pretty good. Tied for 15th is Wyoming. Rectangular and very pill-like, but like I said earlier, the only issue is the corners could be a little bit sharp. Also tied for 15th, Colorado. Same exact thing here. 14, North Dakota. Almost a perfect rectangle like the last two, but the corners on the right side are a little bit more rounded, so not as sharp. 13 is Arizona. Now, it's square-shaped like a lot of the last few that we saw, so it could be a little sharp in those areas, but this one only has 3 pointy corners, and this 4th corner doesn't look too bad, so that's why it was better than those. 12 is Vermont. Now, each of the 4 corners do create a little bit of a cause for concern because they might could be kind of sharp, but otherwise, this one is excellent. It's almost a perfect pill shape, and there's no real sharp parts on the sides. 11 is Tennessee. Now hear me out. This point over here on the right side is very sharp and could be deadly, but as long as you swallow this pill in the right direction, it's going to be no problem because it's super thin, so it'd be really easy. 10 is New Jersey. The only area of concern is this little bottom point. That could be sharp, but other than that, this one is perfect. 9 is Ohio. This one's also perfect and only has one area of concern, and that's the upper right-hand corner. It's a little pointy, but not bad. 8 is South Carolina. This right-hand point might be a little risky, but otherwise, no worries. 7 is Georgia. Very pill-shaped. Just couldn't have it any higher because proportionally, it's a little bit too wide. 6 is Mississippi. Now, overall, this one is excellent, but we're getting to the best of the best, so I got to get a little picky. The only concern I have with this one is all these ridges over here on the left could be a little risky if any of them happen to be a little bit sharper than they look. 5 is Illinois. No real concerns with this one. Not too many pointy edges over here. This one will be pretty good. Number 4 is Alabama. Another one that there's no real problems with. The only slight issue is this bottom left portion is just a little bit awkward and ruins its chance at being a perfect pill shape. Number 3 is Maine. Another one that is almost a perfect pill. If we could just cut off the portion that my hand is covering, then it would be exactly what we need. 2 is Oregon. This one is phenomenal, and the only thing that kept it from number 1 is the potential sharpness of the right-hand corner. Number 1, Iowa, proportionally the perfect shape for a pill, and there are no dangerous edges that'll cut you.